Gender. Male and female brains are different. The man was a hot dog. The woman was a bitch. The results of the experiment could be summarized in those two sentences. 3 researchers created a fictitious assistant vice president of an aircraft company. 4 groups of experimental subjects, with equal numbers of men and women in each group, were asked to rate this fictional person's job performance. Each group was given the vice president's brief job description, but the first group also was told that the vice president was a man. They were asked to rate both the competence and the likability of the candidate. They gave a very flattering review, rating the man very competent and likable. The second group was told that the vice president was a woman. She was rated likable, but not very competent. All other factors were equal, only the perceived gender had changed. The third group was told that the vice president was a male superstar, a stellar performer on the fast track at the company. The fourth group was told that the vice president was a female superstar, also on the express lane to the executive washroom. As before, the third group rated the man very competent and likable. The woman superstar also was rated very competent, but she was not rated likable. In fact, the group's descriptions included words such as hostile. As I said, the man was a hot dog. The woman was a bitch. The point is, gender biases hurt real people in real-world situations. As we hurtle headlong into the controversial world of brains and genders, keeping these social effects in mind is excruciatingly important. There is a great deal of confusion regarding the way men and women relate to each other, and even more about why. There is confusion about the terms as well, blurring the line between the concepts of sex and gender. Here, sex will generally refer to biology and anatomy. Gender will refer mostly to social expectations. Sex is set into the concrete of DNA, gender is not. The differences between men's and women's brains start with how they got that way in the first place. The X factor. How do we become male and female? The road to sex assignment starts out with all the enthusiasm sex usually stimulates. 400 million sperm fall all over themselves attempting to find one egg during intercourse. The task is not all that difficult. In the microscopic world of human fertilization, the X is the size of the Death Star, and the sperm are the size of X-wing fighters. X is actually a good letter for this enterprise, the name of that very important chromosome that half of all sperm and all eggs carry. You recall chromosomes from biology class, those writhing strings of DNA packed into the nucleus that contain the information necessary to make you. It takes 46 of them to do it, which you can think of as 46 volumes in an encyclopedia. 23 come from mom, and 23 come from dad. 2 are sex chromosomes. At least one of those chromosomes has to be an X, or you will die. If you get 2 X chromosomes, you will go into the ladies' locker room all your life. An X and a Y puts you forever in the men's. This sex assignment is controlled by the male. Henry VIII's wives wish he'd had known that. He executed one of them for being unable to produce a boy as heir to the throne, but he should have executed himself. The Y can be donated only by sperm. The egg never carries one, so the male determines the sex. Gender differences can be divided into 3 areas: genetic, neuroanatomical, and behavioral. Scientists usually spend their whole careers exploring only one. Each difference is like a separate island in a common research ocean. We'll tour all 3, starting with a molecular explanation of why Henry VIII owes Anne Boleyn a big fat apology.